Yeah, my name is Vadim. Thanks again for being open to chatting.
Absolutely.
I think what bonded us is our love for technology, because I saw you use these cameras here, and we kind of briefly started chatting about our love for Sony cameras and then technology. And then, of course, I'm at a tech event, and it came up. We are Sensobright. As I mentioned, we teach robots how to feel. And the reason I think that's at the right time, and boy, has it been the right time for dozens of years, is robots have cameras, so they could see better than us. They have microphones, they can hear better than us. But they cannot feel even as close, as good as humans feel, well, until now. And that's such a great and important thing. Boston Dynamics, about 2 weeks ago, Aya Durbin and one of the other lead characters in Boston Dynamics went into a whole presentation about the future of robotics. And I grew up watching their robots running. And back then they had not an electronic engine, they had a combustion engine inside of a robot. And they were amazing at the time. So Boston Dynamics is an innovator. And at the end of their presentation, they said, here's 3-4 things that are going to drive the future of robotics. And guess what they said? Almost word for word. We can look it up at some point. Almost word for word. They said tactile sensing and dexterity, especially finger dexterity, is going to be perhaps the most important change driving humanoid robotics.
Wow.
The reason that's important, and pardon for jumping right into it, is
no, please.
We have automation everywhere. As babies, you and I, when we're children, when we're just after we're born, for about 6 months, our eyes aren't well developed. We certainly can't understand everything that is being said. So the way we explore the world is by touch. And we live in a completely tactile world where the machines can hear and see, but why is our most important technology completely devoid of one of our most important senses?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Then you think about it, I think of what comes to mind is always the Tesla videos where they're trying to test their stopping capabilities with their cameras.
Right.
And you just see him blow through a dummy of a child and mom, and I'm like, that doesn't seem very trustworthy, and then obviously that has nothing to do with touch, but at the same time, that's just showing you the levels at which, if you're depending on that level of insight for
you're
the
actually
way that they move throughout
right.
reality, that's probably not the best factor. Touch is probably the best factor,
And you're absolutely right, because currently robotic systems are guided by cameras, they're guided by LiDAR, and they're guided by a few other methodologies that have been around for a long time. Now, here's the thing. If you go to giant companies like Amazon, if you go to companies like NVIDIA, anybody researching robotics and AI, they have somewhere in a secret lab, this isn't secret knowledge, this is something you must assume.
Yeah.
They have a robot that's trying to grip things. The world's best robotic companies still don't have robots that know whether or not they're grabbing something, gripping it properly, and much less do they know what it is. Sensobright brings you that advantage.
What are they missing in the tactile field?
Absolutely. They're missing the resolution of the human touch. So what they're missing is a way of interacting with an object, and for the robots to touch something and even as much as see basic detail. Our technology is the first where we surpass the human touch resolution. Humans have 241, let's call them sensing. You probably took that in your notes.
I got it right there. Yep, I got it right there.
Humans have 241, let's call them sensory nodes. In their fingertip. We put 400 in 1 centimeter. So we give you higher resolution than the human touch that we could put into a small space where no other sensor maker can deliver. We're the first ones. Furthermore, and I'll get into the technology, of course, as we chat, our technology has no active component at the touch point, which means nothing to anybody outside of robotics.
Yeah.
But what it means to any engineer is, first of all, hold on a second, how? Is this an alien technology? Second of all, okay, show me or prove it. Great. Well, we developed a technology where we use a special patented, what we call magic silicone. It's a gel. And to the gel, we ran fiber optic cables. So now, if you and I start learning Braille, At some point, you can read the Braille and you say, I understand. If you can shrink that Braille, at some point it's small enough where you and I just go, you know what, it's too small, we give up. However, with our technology, a robot can feel at a greater resolution than the human finger. So for the first time ever, not only can you detect if you're touching an object, but you could see if an object is slipping. If we were to give a robot using Sensobright fingertip sensor my ring here, and of course I'll try to hold it up a little bit for the camera, there's detail.
Yeah.
The robots with our fingertip sensor technology can actually see the exact outline of the outside of this ring. If it was to grab it, it would know the orientation. If the ring were to slip, it would know that it's slipping. And all in real time. It sends this instant sensor data to wherever the first active component is, which we'll get into it maybe a little bit later. But at the touch, there is just gel, which when the gel touches the object, it takes the shape of the object. And we run fiber optic cables to it. Now, something that's very important is this didn't happen overnight. The professor who started this company, who invented every one of these things, his first worldwide patent was 2012. We are now at over 165 granted patents, which means he didn't put in an application for a patent. He didn't send it off. It was a patent that was reviewed and it was granted. So we're 165 patents into developing this brand new technology that allows for a no active component at the touch point, which means that robots that use our tech can work with liquids. No other sensor can do that because electronics don't like liquids. If you are a medical team, we can give you technology that works with, first of all, anything that's biohazard related now has a way of being isolated by using gloves. Our technology, our sensors, work through soft materials. You can give a robotic hand our tech, and you can put a glove on it, and it works through the soft surface that you give it.
Whoa.
So you now have a way of working to first detect what you're touching. Second, you can work through any soft surface. So you can give a glove that's, you use it once, throw it out, and all of a sudden you just put on a new glove and you're ready to go in medical settings, in biohazard settings, and it's not prevented like a touch screen. Modern touch screen, if you were to put a material over it like a glove, you're out of luck. It's the world's most popular touch sensor, by the way. The phone touchscreen is the world's most popular touch sensor. It's everywhere. Our touch sensor technology gives you the ability to work in liquids, and electromagnetic electromagnetic interference is not a problem because, again, we have a gel and fiber optic cables. And as we all know, fiber optic cables can run photons, and not a whole lot of things can knock a photon out of the way unless there's a black hole. And I have a feeling if there's a black hole nearby, you're a little bit less concerned about your robot detecting touch of something.
There you go. Man, that is extraordinarily fascinating. And that's what we had talked about earlier. And my mind since then has been going off on potential applications for this. And I know you had talked about it being able to pass through surfaces. Something that I saw on your website was really cool was that you didn't actually use it as the touch sensing technology for a robot's finger, but you used it for human application in putting it underneath specific materials and using it as sort of a touchscreen technology. So you have these smooth surfaces. On the example for your website, there was you were able to roll down the window just by pushing 2 fingers down on the leather. And that was incredible.
Thank you so much. I can't say enough. And maybe at some point we can have the Professor Dr. Utku Buyuksahin, who started as a professor in Turkey. And of course, he has dedicated his entire life to researching in mechatronics and tactile sensing. And we are USA, we're Beaverton-based company that's creating the new frontier for next generation human-machine interface, robotics, medical, and wherever else. To the subject of wherever else, our technology isn't just a robotic finger sensor. It's scalable. So you can actually take something that's this small, a robotic finger sensor, or you can make it the size of a couch. You can make it the size of my jacket. And you could put it into specifically furniture or in a car. Put it under leather in a car. It can work under any soft surfaces. And it's greater sensitivity than your touch screen. Also, we don't just detect left, right, up, down, and shape. We detect pressure. So now think about it. You have an extra dimension of, no, the person really wanted the volume to come up because they pressed it firmer or they pressed it further.
Mm-hmm.
We don't only give you a way of working under a leather, fall leather, or any soft material. We also give you a way of, no, there's much more refined control because this is now a human machine interface, HMI, for cars, for aerospace, for automotive, as well as suppose you're a company like, just name drop something like John Deere, and you're working out in the field, and you have people that have to operate a giant piece of machinery. They don't have the time to work with a touchscreen that barely works. Now, suppose there's rain or mud. Now, suppose it's cold and the John Deere tractor operator or whatever machinery is wearing a heavy working glove. Good luck with a traditional touchscreen.
Oh, yes.
It may be a mystery because I haven't said how it works yet, but fiber optic cables can actually show you an image. So what we can do with our technology is the same technology that takes your touch input can display an image. You just tell us how big of a screen you want to make. And now you could throw liquids on it, not a problem. And now you could have it be actually, I don't even know if I should mention this. Probably it's okay, but we could put it behind bulletproof glass. And there's reason for that because we can talk about one more aspect of how it's used. But you can at least work with gloves and in liquid environments and have a screen that isn't at all put off by wearing a glove in a challenging place.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm the applications for this are absolutely insane, and it's been racking my brain. I thought of this today as because the gel is physical essentially, and the fiber optics are physical, and manufacturing as of late has been ridiculous, and it's been all over the place. Supply chains have been really, really rough. So I was thinking, you have the most refined and finest, detailed tactile sensing technology, essentially, because everything else is sort of base level. It's touchscreen. It doesn't go through objects. It doesn't do all these things, and it actually identifies objects with its pressure and stuff like that. So what if you created the database for all the objects for all the robotics, essentially?
Man, is this, be honest, is this a setup? Did you know this is such a great transition? Thank you. Thank you for what you just said.
Remember when I texted you and I said, my mind is starting to go.
Right.
That's where I went, because I was like, oh, if there's some sort of supply chain block up or something like that, you can distribute, you can essentially house all the information, because essentially what it's claiming online is that you can have millions of sensors and data points that run through a simple USB cable. And I'm assuming that it's low data, because if you have millions of data points, then that would have to be large amounts of data. But you're able to pass through that with a simple USB cable. So that should mean you can consolidate data very effectively. And then you can identify objects, create a database of that, and sell that entire database to companies.
I love this.
You would essentially not have to build the physical models of couches and leather inserts and John Deere applications. You could just sell the data as far as what you could input it into the machines, the brain.
Right.
And then you can also have your physical product and sell that as a sort of tandem process. But that's where my mind went, was, whoa, they have the best. And I tried to look up your competitors, and I tried to look up different technologies and things like that. It doesn't seem like there's people who are going as in deep detail and in depth as you guys are, which was oddly saying, I was doing a lot of ChatGPT and going back and forth, and it was saying, like, your handicaps for this business model and things like that is like, some people aren't looking for the most tactile and most information-based sensory output systems. They're looking for something quick and easy and stuff like that. But I'm like, well, if you're dealing with robots and you're dealing with machinery, they're going to want to know what the visual aspect of it is. And then if they visually see an apple and then your data set comes up as far as the pressure and ability to grip and handle an apple, that now creates the entire system. And then you can also integrate the entire body with a silicon gel as its flesh and create sensory
Man.
systems for this.
So one of the ways first of all, thank you for this. It's almost like you gave me the perfect transition or this on a subject I really wanted to at least touch up on.
Okay.
So the last part first, you said maybe you can even have something of a way of decorating an entire robot's body. We think of our technology as being the closest to human skin. Does human skin have an active electronic component at the end? No, and neither do we. That's the advantage that we have that nobody can touch. Also, if you think about aeronautics, up in space, there's a lot of different kind of radiation that happens. Also, you need to have a certain kind of sensitivity and definitely need to work through gloves if you have even a machine or a robot. And the robot still needs to know what it's doing if it's working somewhere on a place that humans don't usually have the ability to touch. So imagine that industry finally jumping in and realizing the potential that our team and Sensobright brings to the table. Now, to your point about a database, for many years we've been researching, and last year we launched Sensobright AI. And I'm so happy we didn't bring it up to now because everybody talks AI. I was in a Focus AI festival, Focus AI convention in Seattle, and so much talk about physical AI. Most of it is guided by cameras. Modern, even grippers in factories. You have a robotic hand, you have a gripper or an end effector, as they say. You have an end effector going somewhere. It's programmatic, it's being told where to go, and it's also guided by a camera. But what if line of sight? What if line of sight is blocked? Where does your camera can do if anything useful to you, the line of sight is blocked. So this is where Sensobright is a completely unique advantage because, yes, your robotic fingers can actually guide, second subjectal touch, grab and identify what the object is without the camera knowing. Because we have such a high resolution at our touch point, we actually built a database. So we are, I want to say we're the only, but I did Google. There's claims of other tactile touch databases, but I would venture the guess, given the chance to, I've already had the chance to speak to a lot of different companies, some names that you've probably heard of. I dare say we have the best tactile touch database because we are the first company to bring it at such a high resolution. And yes, we are actively teaching machines what objects are by touch alone.
Man, that is why I wanted to have you on. That is heavy. That's heavy. And like I was saying before, just wanted to talk to you about this technology, and you're clearly passionate. You're clearly intellectual about it. Do you see, I always hate to see the cons in this technology because things are moving so quickly that my sense of wanting to bring up the cons is to make sure that we're not going too fast with the future and the way it's going. You know, what do you think is the best aspect of this, and what do you think is the worst aspect of this? If there is any.
You actually, it's kind of funny because responsible technologists, responsible roboticists always have to think about the positives and the potential negatives too. The positives, I'll start with why I'm in the game. And I come from sales and marketing, not that you could tell by the way I speak, but I don't join companies where I don't believe in the team and the product. I have never joined a company where I don't believe what they're doing has a chance to bring greater good for mankind. And I could defend that from many points, at least when people hit me with comparative to whatever, right? The reason I believe in Sensobright isn't just that we added the fifth sense for robots. We brought fifth sense to machines that until now couldn't tell if something is soft or hard, couldn't learn if something hurts. So great positive as any machine can now understand with a little bit of our Sensobright AI training that this touch is okay, this would be painful. Huge positive with humanoid robots right around the corner, with every team in the world that works in AI, now double dipping, working in robotics, whether they announced it or not. The other huge positive to me personally is medicine. Because I'm aware of the tone change if I go into the deeply personal, I'll take a step up and say, unfortunately, I do know how important surgical methodology is. And it's very important that we develop better surgical tools. Current machines, even though they are amazing and you can have a surgeon operate on a patient from 1,000 miles away, they still don't have the degree of nuanced touch detection and the ability to discern healthy tissue versus less healthy tissue remotely. They have something, sometimes people will say force feedback. It's a different way of achieving that through mechanical means. With our technology, you can actually have a surgeon or a robot immediately tell if a tissue is softer than it needs to be or harder than it needs to be. If it's healthy or less healthy, it'll directly send instant sensor data that says, do not apply more force. Or it'll say, no, we're actually in the right place, doing the right thing.
Man, that's incredible. That is incredible.
And this isn't hypothetical, by the way. We, well, I unfortunately, I can't talk too much about what advancements we've made, but suffice it to say that for me personally, the medical direction of Sensobright is a huge, huge touch, because I am aware of the necessity for improving surgical methodology across the world, as well as helping any of the advanced and incredible surgical teams, whether it's U.S. based or U.S. with partners. I'm a big fan of improving medicine, and I look forward to seeing the benefits even for myself and my family.
Yeah. I did see that your daughter had gone through treatment and surgery, and praying for you, brother, and I'm praying that I can only imagine, and I know we don't have to get into this, but just as a father, I have absolute respect for you, and just to know that this has some family effect on you and you actually believe in it is a big reason why I actually brought you on too, is because I don't want this to be just any sort of technology that, you may be working there for 3 months and you're coming up, just trying to promote yourself or do whatever. It's like, I really, I did some research and I got to talk to you and I got to hear your articulation for the business, your love for the business. I also saw the reviews that people have written about you and spoke about you. They speak very highly of you, and I see you, as a father and dude, incredible. And just wanted to, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for giving me a chance to also have this chance to speak in this outlet. Yeah. And I do want to say one thing. Our kiddo is she's going to have surgery at some point. I think maybe depending on where you read online, she's. I said that she's doing better. She at some point she will be. We'll get a call. Maybe right now, maybe in an hour, maybe in a week, maybe in a month. We'll get a call that says, "Please go in. We're ready for the next step, and we're ready for surgery." And to me, that's why it's double effect of the thought of how future generations will be able to benefit from this beyond any look what we did and look how cool and creative we are.
Yeah.
This is something where it'll help humans for the rest of mankind. And I don't want to speak for the professor, but I do know that he's massively proud of contributions our team and him specifically with his inventions are making for the world of medicine. Whether or not I can say anything live or on record, I just want you to know that when you see it, when it comes around, you'll be able to say, we had one of the first, if not the first conversation on camera about what this means, and even to me, Vadim, not just a person who is forwarding all the things Sensobright is bringing to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. The application, like I said, time and time again, my mind over the last, I don't know when we reached out. I reached out to you maybe a week ago or something like that before we had actually coordinated and got to today, has been running. And I've been talking to so many people about it because it was just,
I can't believe it. Thank you.
It literally has just been blowing my mind since I heard about it, because it makes so much sense. All I've been seeing is, as of late, is the robotics revolution, essentially, in the integration of robotics into the human system, into society. And I think a lot of the times technology gets this soft launch, and then, 10 years later, they're like, we should have probably done X, Y, and Z, before we launched or before we did all these things. And I think your company is actually something that's going to shine very brightly in this next wave of this sort of technological revolution.
Thank you for the thoughts, because I'm going to say something that's cheesy but also true. So ready for this thought? There isn't an industry that could not use the human touch.
Yeah.
And Sensobright takes you beyond human touch. Higher resolution, and still works in places where you can't bring other technology because of the construction. And, medicine is very important. But one of the publications I just read, I think like 2 days ago, publication called Interesting Engineering just made an article called Humanoid Robots, Factories, Automation, something along those lines. And it said robots can do all kinds of acrobatics and tricks, but they can't hold a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And yes, you see demos where the robot is specifically trained to hold a screwdriver, but the reason you and I can do it is because we're detecting every step of how that screwdriver is making contact, how we're holding it, how to better position. We know how to reposition it. We take it for granted. Robots never learn that skill. We're here to teach that skill. And the further quote I liked is, these are precisely the developments that are set to bring humanoids to the next phase of their evolution. Hands that can manipulate, sense, and adapt will define the next decade of industrial robotics. So this is specifically the thing that even Boston Dynamics remarked on, physical AI. So there's so many conversations that are all vision-based models, and they talk about holding, but holding is an inherently tactile activity, something that, again, you and I grow up with this ability, which in humans is remarkable, and we brought the closest to human ability because fiber optics works similar to nerves. Our magic silicone works very similar to skin. And because of the way it's constructed, the first electronic component, the active component, you could build this in a robot a foot away from the touch point, or you could say, I don't need it that close. It's a machine interface, let's say, in a wall. Maybe it's an ATM machine, and you build the first active components for the screen interface a mile away if your fiber optics allow it. So you can have something that has an active component here, or you could have it be a mile away wherever the user needs it, and any scalable size, big or small. It's a pretty big advantage.
That's a pretty big advantage. My mind also goes to Elon Musk's Neuralink. If there is a way to, maybe somebody doesn't have an arm and you connect a robotic arm and you have the gel, you might even just have a hand, or you have the entire arm have feeling, you could then essentially connect it to them. And if it fires off in their brain correctly, you could give someone feeling again.
100% right.
Is a potential, so these are some of the potentials that I see, is like, if we're given things feeling, not only is it just for robots or for touch, it's actually in the medical field as well.
100% right. And the level of details and responsiveness, and tactile sensitivity, we can do more than just pressure. And we could do more than just, as the engineers would say, vector and force detection and instant data. We can detect more than just those tactile things. And because I'm not an engineer, I don't want to go into more than I can readily explain. But any engineer that looks into our design will eventually go, wait, there is more sensory things you can detect with that. Yes. And to your point, very much human-machine interfaces are one thing, but brain and nervous system interfaces are developed in many different ways. And we have the way of collecting that data to a higher degree than previously possible. And giving somebody maybe a lost sense of touch, or maybe a new sense of touch.
And that's where it keeps, this is where it keeps coming back to me with the data sets, is that you can essentially formulate all these data sets, and then once the technology is bridged to where you have a human to machine interface, you then can have the database of what it feels like to grip things, touch things. So when you're talking about people who are learning to walk again, learning to grab things again, learning to do all these things, it could be a data set that bypasses their need to relearn these things. They can essentially have the innate understanding in the data set of how much pressure to put, how to move their arm, all these things through robotics. And
is it kind of like that Matrix where you press a button and then it uploads the information and then you pause and you go, whoa,
yes,
I know Kung Fu. That was my best Keanu Reeves impression.
that was a good one.
Almost any impression is a good
There you
Keanu
go.
Reeves impression.
There you go.
Keanu, if there's any world where you see this, I'm sorry I said that. We love you. Trust us.
Oh, yeah. You got the John Wick vibes going on right now. I love it.
It's really the best compliment I'm going to get all year.
I know.
But I think that's we're, or Johnny Mnemonic, probably
That's a good one.
internet. What was that movie called? It is Johnny Mnemonic, where you have your brain interface, similar kind of concept as the Matrix, just a different aspect of it. But yeah, we should be able to use the same technology that learns the texture of objects to teach where you are in position in relation. And the second part that I hate to keep throwing new things out there, but we're approaching more and more of our functionality.
Yeah.
I brought up the implementation of our technology where the endpoint is a gel. You will see on our website I would call naked sensor where you don't have the gel. And then you see the fiber optics, and then you see the lights coming out of the fiber optics. And depending on what light source you use, for example, laser versus some other light source, it doesn't have to stop at the gel. It can keep going. This is light conditions dependent, but we also sense proximity. So our quick plug, we actively sell a number of products. One of them is the fingertip sensor, and the other is the entire Smart Gripper Plus. So Smart Grip, Smart Gripper Plus, these are the two objects that people might love for their factories and automation. The Plus comes with proximity sensing, meaning not only do you detect what you're touching at the point you're touching it, but your machine is going to be fully aware when it's approaching it, because the same sensor that is going to grab the object now has openings that can say, oh, we're getting closer and closer and closer. Furthermore, our AI is trained to recognize what kind of thing you're approaching, because it's
scary.
a proximity-based thing. So now you can say, we're not going to have a collision. We're going to go around. If anybody researches automation, manufacturing, you'll see billions of dollars in waste, scrap, and rework every year because machines don't grab properly, things fall, they don't know, they crash, they collide, they have to buy more materials, they have to restart the line. Even 1 second process time could save billions to a giant company who has big manufacturing needs. Now imagine, instead of guessing whether you grabbed, what you get when you know what you're grabbing. Imagine if guessing whether or not you're approaching the right place for pick and pull accuracy, you know what you're approaching. That is the advantage that Sensobright brings, and in conditions where no other sensor technology could deliver, like liquids, and we're also immune to electromagnetic interference. Kind of cool.
I just want to know how this works, because realistically, you're not using cameras and you're using light essentially as a reflector.
So
does it, the proximity essentially is if you get close to something, the light of photons
you said that,
is
and I start moving.
bending, it's insane. It's insane.
So without digging too deep into it, because we do have some of the information available online, and of course we are. I feel more confident saying this out loud. We're protected by over 165 patents, and I feel slightly more confident stating that yes, we do have a gel, we do have fiber optics. The fiber optics carry photons, carry light information, the shape of whatever it is that's being detected by, let's say, the magic silicon. Remove the magic silicon, we're shooting it out. Now it's detected through proximity.
It's mapping.
Where does it carry that fiber optic? Where does the fiber optic cable carry that light information? Well, it does carry it to an image sensor. And the image sensor can be a foot away or a mile away. That's why we have no active components to the touch point. And that, the magic of what we do, starts with the research, continues with design of our magic silicone gel, continued with how we work with our fiber optics. And of course, the image sensor is now working with our databases to tell the machine what it is it's, let's say, seeing by touch, or more properly, feeling. So just imagine a grid of 20 by 20 fiber optic cables. You get a 400 fiber optic effective fibers at the touch points. And now whatever's being touched, you're getting that image sent to the image sensor, and the image sensor is sending the information to chips for processing. And this gets more technical than I can genuinely and logically explain. So suffice it to say, I'm not trying to obscure the information that I don't want to dive into more than where I could swim.
Yeah. No, I like to poke and prod because my brain automatically goes to the application and what other field or just use case does it have, because it seems like it can go in any possible direction. I mean,
oh yes,
a big direction right now is virtual reality, in a sense. And it's like, if you mapped out a database of all the touch points, then you can essentially reverse that into feeling what it feels like to be in these virtual environments. If you have some sort of haptic feedback suit at its most real and finite feeling textures, because you have more than the human amount, which is 241, you now have millions. And so you have beyond human touch in a virtual world.
Isn't that interesting?
Is a possibility. And that's and that's crazy.
I want to say that hidden in the over 165 patents, which are all something one could look up, you will find that we've gone many directions besides creating a company and starting with research and development, manufacturing in-house, prototyping in-house, developing, creating all in-house. We've gone much further than just the robotic fingertip sensor, the grip, and of course the soft sensor you may have seen called Smart Surface. We've gone much further than that, including there is some information about how humans can work with machines. And it's very interesting to say that, yes, we can be in a virtual environment and we can have full sensory information. And also a challenge I would put to anybody is Sensobright can bring you that sensory information. We can collect it for you, how any part of the world feels. How easy is it to replicate it? What machinery has to exist to replicate it? So I'm saying that there may already be things in works to help replicate the information that we take in through our current sensor technology.
Man, that's awesome.
I don't want to close us off to just robotics, medical. And then, of course, something that always comes to mind is every part of research. Let's say you're an athletics research. Let's say you've used older technology to try to gather information of how something presses on something. Let's say you're seeing how athletes run. You're seeing how their foot interacts with the ground or a shoe. And now you want to gather that information in the most detailed way possible. Never before could you see such detail about where the pressure map happens to be. And never before can you gain such insight. And a shoe company could easily talk to us about creating any size shoe platform so they can get the most accurate instant sensor data for how athletes move. And this can be used for medicine, not just creation of footwear.
Also, I was thinking about this as well.
Oh, God.
Because I was driving past a semi the other day, and it had a bunch of tie downs and all these giant industrial materials. And I'm like, if that snaps, I'm going to die. And
oh my God. So
now
Final
what if
Destination
you
stuff.
Embedded, yes, maybe. But I mean, I was right behind it and I was stuck between semis. It was a whole thing. My mind works like that when my son's in the car. I'm like, I need to make some different choices, you know?
What is that? When the kids are involved, they're like, I am so aware right now. I'm going to be the most protective, predictive.
Yeah. It's just, that's my guy. I got to keep him around. But I was thinking, I was like, man, pressure systems to make sure that things don't snap and break are insane. You have a weight capacity essentially before some sort of tension breaks these, industrial materials and falls all over the road and hurts some people or something like that. That's another application use case for it, is deciding what pressure something is at, So
the use cases are quite broad. And one of my hopes when I came here, I almost said fears, and I realized a positive way to say that. One of my hopes was to think and bring forward many ways that we can bring this technology to make the world a better, safer place. And I almost said fears because I didn't want to close this off into, we only do this, and that. No, there's many industries that we could touch and progress. And tactile sensor market right now is by aggregate measures. And I could link you to what research what research articles I'm quoting, is combined about 16 billion in 2024. It's estimated to be 44 billion by 2032. Just the tactile sensor market. That's just the sensors. Whoa. And they can go into robotics or anything. But in your application, seeing the tension, seeing how something comes apart, absolutely. And that would be the easiest use of our technology. It would take, because there's a lot of space you work with, there's no constraints with, heat or how much energy it takes. Something like using it on a truck to tell if some kind of a mount is coming apart, that is the easiest use of our technology. And it can be done, the more higher volume you sell to a manufacturer, the lower the costs become. That kind of a traditional statistic comes into play. And of course, I do want to point out that the phone, in 2007, I believe it was 2007, the iPhone launched, and the world was very big on image sensor market changing. 2007, you had about one image sensor per phone, and most of the image sensor market was cameras and a little bit other industrial uses in phones. The market was about, again, 4 billion back then. Fast forward to now, it's actually ironically or coincidentally also about 44 billion. So, 33 billion. It's 33 billion now. So from 4 billion to 33 billion just because of one thing that was brought to the table. The phone. Now, phones have multiple image sensors. Question, how many robots are coming?
A lot.
How many sensors per robot?
I would have to look that up. It's going to be a lot. It's
Right?
going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. My understanding is that you guys can house a lot of data, continuously house a lot of data in small data format. So you're not getting this, it's not expensive and it's not overwhelming to this data set and data companies, because if it's Tesla and their Optimus robot or something like that, then if they're touching everything, essentially everything they touch is going to want to be converted into a data set so they can have more data points so that they make sure that their next iteration of their robots are going to be better and more articulate, and so if you found a way to not only manufacture this very cheaply, but also store and create the data very cheaply, seems like the perfect product.
So, thanks for bringing that up too. You helped me with the Sensobright AI conversation, and actually what you're talking about is again back to Sensobright AI. The system we run can, let's pull back a little bit. Traditional AI models take years and millions of dollars to teach. I was also at a medical AI conference here downtown Portland about a week ago. OHSU Night Cancer Institute was there, and a lot of amazing researchers from Rice, from everywhere. And they talked about models for teaching machines what things are visually or any other way. Very expensive and takes a long time. I can't go into the numbers, partially because I don't remember, but I also can't go into the numbers because it's better that I don't, because things change. But we found, and this is a thing we specifically tested for, this is one of our selling points when we talk to big companies, is our method of teaching a robot, a machine, a computer, what an object is far less expensive and incomparably faster than the methods they're using now. And yes, we have been tested by a company that, for lack of better words, called our bluff. Wasn't a bluff. We've been to their office and we worked with them, and they gave us a couple of challenging items. They said, okay, they came out, I think, a pen with a clicker. I wasn't, just to be clear, I wasn't there, but a pen with a clicker, a piece of a string, and a few other objects. And it did not take us very long to, in front of them, teach the computer what the objects were.
Oh my goodness.
Using Sensobright tactile sensor and our AI. And of course, as you might imagine, minds were blown. I don't want to go into a 4-hour conversation about what it means for cost reduction, for energy saving. But one more piece of that conversation and story that's very important is this. Typically, you think of AI, you think Wi-Fi is involved and some mega servers. Professor Dr. Utku was able to show this with a computer, his laptop only, And when they said, well, we have the Wi-Fi password, he was very quick to say, well, we don't need. So it's very, very local, faster, cheaper, less expensive.
Wow. Well, it's
demonstrable, by the way.
It's also really crazy because when you look at AI, they're neural networks, and so you're using AIs to essentially bounce certain information off of each other and go like, is this correct? Yes, this is correct, or no, this isn't correct. And you go through this data stream of trying to figure out what's yes and what's no.
Right.
With Sensobright, you're getting tactile senses, so it's not deciphering whether it's yes or no. It just is.
Yes.
So now you're getting what is directly, and now apply that to, let's just imagine it's Optimus, and you reply that to a robot fleet, and every tactile sense that, let's say there's one robot and he touches something, then that information gets fed to every other robot in its fleet, and it now has that information, and now every robot that picks up every single thing is feeding all that information to every other system, no matter whether it's a robot or if it's aeronautics or, if it's medical, no matter what it is, it now is visually seeing something, identifying it as that's a book,
right.
Touching it. This is what it feels like. This is the weight. This is the density. This is whatever it is. Now it's in the system. Now it's spread throughout the entire system. And now you have this fast flood of data points like instantaneously being created without the yes/no, interface.
What is such a big distinction, because it's not a system of it's not the traditional guessing game where the machine is basically really good at predicting words, predicting whatever it was trained on. The way our AI is designed and our data is made to work with minimal amount of information because it's so direct. And it's very modern technology between the image sensor that eventually gets that information, the processing that we do later. It's so minimal that when the engineers that we work with outside of our company finally realize how simple it is, the reaction is always, oh, okay, we could see why it's so fast and we could see why it's so light. And also to your point about neural networks having to communicate, all modern AI uses some version of that understanding, but it can very much be done locally. And I'm not going to throw around terms like edge AI or any of that, but I will say it can be done locally on a not super powerful computer because of how simple that touch identification is and how little information in a technical mathematical engineering sense is being sent and how little information it takes. It's just nobody else used this approach before and provided such a, by comparison, high resolution, but high resolution to you and I might be 4K or whatever it is, because we're used to thinking of cameras. It takes nowhere near that much data. Just, I'm not a mathematician either, but it doesn't take a lot of data to send this information, this touch information, so it's much faster and much easier, also cheaper to train the AI.
Well,
to recognize.
Much of the information that takes up so much data is the amount of pixels and the amount of resolution that something is trying to capture, essentially. And so when you're not dealing with pixels, you're dealing with light information. It's much cheaper, much faster, much more efficient. That's, man, see, that's why I've just been talking to everyone about this, because
thank you for that, by the way. We
literally
I appreciate
trying
it. We appreciate it.
I keep trying to find I'm not trying to find the BS in it. I'm trying to find where there is a limited application or going like, oh, I kind of got fantastical about that. And maybe it's, it's not as great as it sounds. And the more I keep chopping it up and the more I keep kind of thinking about the applications and the use cases for it, I'm like, this is the next technology that is the most necessary and the most vital, I feel like, for what is to come and for actual change, like for real change, not, these social media algorithms and updates and AI bots and AI, assistants and whatever the case may be. It's like, it's something physical, it's real, new. It's tactile, it's new.
The fifth sense for machines.
And it's, I mean, if you find a way to implement it in the human body, then you now will have extraordinary senses that you've never been able to feel. I mean, if you can articulate a certain level of touch that is much deeper than, your normal receptors, like that is incredible. And
I fully agree.
you're going to be able to find a way to feel things differently.
Oh, yes.
Which is insane.
And never before. The thing that's, the professor pointed out a very good thing about the touch sensitivity and us teaching robots what things are by touch alone. He said, we had for humanity, a historic moment. Sensobright AI and our fingertip sensor. When we teach machines what an object is, it's the first time in human history when an object touched an object and knew what it was just by touch.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What do you believe, how far along until the application really takes hold, do you believe? And obviously that's really hard to guess, but what do you think in the next 5 years, 10 years that?
I see what you mean. I think I see what you mean. Scale, for example,
scale.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are numbers of teams that we're working with that do everything from use our technology for production to research. And because of that, it's already being in use. But our goal is very much to be the de facto sensor technology by 2030. And that's Sensobright's entire structure is to become recognized as the de facto new sensing technology that can be as small as you need, as big as you need, and is more sensitive than human finger, works in liquids like no other sensors do. How long? It's a matter of when the next generation of machinery comes around. Most likely it will be in robotics, factories, and automation first. And there are currently teams that are working on finding the best ways to use new technology. And it's a matter of just 1, 2, or 3 of them saying, all right, we've done enough testing. I mean, I could say we've already passed our millionth actuation test. One of the team's requirements for us was, can you prove to us that your sensor and your magic silicone and what you put on top of it, which could be anything really, works? They asked for, I think, 75,000 actuations. We passed that. We got to 150,000. Actuation meaning the finger touching, letting go, touching, letting go. We didn't make the robotic hand. Over 150,000, the finger that was using our sensor, finger that we did not make, the robotic hand we did not make, had to be repaired while the sensor kept working. We repaired
because it was going so long.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We passed 150,000 as a joke. We kept going, and we had to repair the finger, the hand, which we did not make. We can and we will make a robotic hand if need be. We have the capability. We've done it before, but we did not make this particular hand. Okay. While the finger, the robot part, had to be repaired 3 times. The sensor never once broke. Our technology never once broke, and we continued past 1 million actuations, and that's listed on our website. So we're launch ready for any team. Sorry about
that. No, I was just going to ask, is there a limited amount of touching that you can do with these sensors, essentially? If that information is known.
Great question. I haven't seen a... I mean, I guess I could start with what should be a limit to anybody is what does the user, what is the buyer and the user intended for? Because the gels can be replaced. They're made, it's one screw. You remove the screw, replace a new gel, depending on your sensitivity level needs, and depending on how hard of an object you're planning on touching. If you're a factory that does, let's say, battery manufacturing for EVs, your robots are going to be carrying heavy things, heavy duty. So now you're going to be using a tougher material, and of course it's going to have a different rate at which it wears out. And that's completely up to the user to replace as per their need. So the first, not a limit, but more use case is, what do you want to put on top of the sensor? I'd have to research to find out when our sensors broke, but we have some posted information online. I mean, we work with from -40 Celsius to 90 degrees Celsius, and we have some Newton measurements for minimum force we detect and maximum force, maximum load. But suffice it to say, anything humanoid robots need to do, we're designed to handle, including carrying heavy materials for some construction needs as well as EV. And again, all the upper limits have to be verified with our engineering team. I would love to tell you all the details, but easy answer to your question is, yeah, what use will the customer have? And the first thing that will need to be replaced is actually not the sensor, because it's encased in metal or whatever material the buyer needs. And the sensor is actually encased in metal, so it's not going to break easily. The thing that you will need to replace after X amount of use is whatever you're covering the sensor with. And that's, again, up to the user.
Man. So cool.
Sorry, I said so much.
Cool.
To such
No. That's that's why I ask the questions. Honestly, I love being the question guy, because then I'll just let you go. Man, I feel like we covered so much of a lot of the questions that I had for you. A lot of the use cases and a lot of the projected goals and what the future kind of looks like. Is there any goals essentially that you have within the company that are you looking to just make sure that this becomes number one?
Well, to stick with our we firmly believe that this is the technology that's going to take the entire industry forward. It's going to help medical. It's going to help any company that works with even textile research. It's going to help in aeronautics, and it's going to help in automotive. So my goal is to make sure that as many teams get their hands on our technology, and B, start using it so that we can progress it together with our partners. Nobody lives in an island. No man is an island. Probably, I don't know if it's the perfect phrase, but we do have to partner with as many teams as we possibly can so that we could co-develop and optimize the technology for their use, because as our team can do X amount of research, we can do infinitely more with the more partners we have that tell us, hey, can you change this? Hey, it's great for that, but can you change that? Absolutely welcome input from research to development. Our next steps are, of course, to get this in as much automation, factories, any assembly line as we possibly can. That can be done yesterday, today, right now, anytime. My personal goal is to get the technology in automation as well as medicine. And that's something I personally hope to bring to the table, whether it's local OHSU, Providence, or any of the research teams here. And of course, through, I would call it, on the sidelines of medical with athletics. There's a number of amazing footwear manufacturers we can find around Portland, Oregon, as well as across the United States and maybe across the world. So my goal is to bring this technology so we could co-evolve it together, and we can help take the next step in evolving human touch for machines and beyond.
Very well put. Got to chop it up about Sensobright. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about as far as what you had going on? Anything creatively?
Thanks a lot. I for my own side, thanks again for having me, and thanks for having in effect us, Sensobright. Thanks for giving us a voice and outlet. And of course, every company is always happy to have as you and I are talking, I'm already having ideas from what you said, from what you asked. And I don't mean how to answer. I mean, what if I think more about this? What if I approach it more how you presented it? So that in itself, thank you for these thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, the human connection, just like you and I met at an event that might as well have been a random event through Rose City Tech. So, grateful to the team at Rose City for bringing us together.
Shout out Annie in Brooklyn.
Annie in Brooklyn, if you guys are watching this, and I'm sure you will be, thank you so much. And thanks for putting together such a great event for not just Oregon. We're in Washington right this second.
Yeah, Vancouver now.
It's multi-state that you guys are impacting. Just like you and I met at an event where we would have been strangers for the rest of our lives had this not taken place. I think it's very important to keep connecting the community and to keep saying, wait, I've heard this conversation. I know who can work with you, who can help you. And that's something I take great pride. I grew up in Denver, Colorado for most of my life, 18 years in Denver, 3 years in Seattle, moved and worked for Sony North America for 5 years in San Diego, and then we're back in the Pacific Northwest because we said we got to have family nearby. We missed the family. We really, really found out we need the family. And also we miss the forests for my Jackie and I. We really, really love the adventures together in forests. And that human connection matters more than anything. And that's actually how I met Sensobright in 2024 at Beaverton Chamber of Commerce meeting.
Nice.
So I also made a human connection that took us to this next exciting step in a situation where we would have otherwise been strangers. So the thing I wanted to say is just keep growing that human connection and keep helping anybody you can by saying, I've heard this conversation. I know the right person for you.
Nice.
And thanks for giving me a chance of being a part of this human connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know as we kind of run towards an uncertain future, just unimaginable, and I pray a great way. I want to maintain that human connection, and I actually want to encourage that human connection as much as I can. And I know that over the years I've developed skills, and being an artist and stuff, you kind of hide away and you lock yourself in a room and you just are playing all day, and like, I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, I see that I can make an impact. I see that I can use my skills to not only bring people together, but I can also, I could tinker and I can, set up the lights and set up the camera and get good quality and kind of create something. Most importantly, I want that connection, and I want to make sure that people like you, people like Annie, and everyone that I've been meeting recently gets a voice, gets a platform, gets a place to connect and communicate. And we really do have, I really do think we have something special here in Portland and Vancouver and Washington specifically. I think there's a lot of people that just haven't had the correct platform to talk and speak about maybe there's certain projects or there's certain creative endeavors and things like that. Because I go out and I see the most just incredible intellectual people, creative people, funny people. Just doesn't matter. I just see them constantly, and I'm like, where are we on the map essentially? And I realized that I wasn't playing a part in that, and I'm like, you know what? I should probably play a part in that. And this came to be in like 3 months, so I'm taking it as a sign, as like this is just kind of what I'm meant to do. So
this is so great. I had a quick idea that I haven't actuated yet because of things that took place in life, but also good things too, in business development, meeting people. But idea I had, and if somebody else does it, great, because I want it to happen, is just, we have so many interesting people with interesting ideas and interesting businesses. A podcast is a great place for people to speak their mind. Idea I had for just a quick 1 minute, 2 minute segments, and I hope to get to do it, but maybe somebody watching can do this too. That'd be great. Is go to local Portland businesses or founders and only film 1 or 2 minutes to let them talk about why they're passionate. Not just a plug for their business, which will, of course, in effect, still be a plug for their business, so everyone will maybe want to do it. But if you give them just a minute or two, why did you come to this? Why did you choose to do this? What made you passionate? Because the hardest thing, I think, in the world is to make someone honestly want something. You can't make people want something, maybe basic needs which are built into us, but when somebody wants to do something, it is their cause. So what I wanted to do is create some kind of a 1 or 2 minute segment, maybe camera, microphones involved like this, is to interview local founders, bakery shop owners, say, why are you the most passionate? Why is this your passion? What brought you to this? What makes you excited? And just focus on, instead of their business model or maybe the type of croquettes they make, specifically focus on their passion and the why, and just have segments on, like, this is why, maybe call it causecasters. I don't know. I haven't thought of a name, but just the passion behind why they create.
That's a good idea, because even this is it for me. This is my passion, but you then get wrapped up in the business aspect of it, and what business entails versus what your passion entails is two very different things. And if you start a business, you have to be passionate about it, because you will not go anywhere. So if you see anyone who does have a remotely successful business whatsoever, you know for a fact that they are not doing that just because they woke up one day and they were like, I guess I'll kind of do this. They really believe in why they're doing this, and they really have some unique motivation to get up every morning and cut past all the BS that it takes to run a business and actually go about it and do it. So that is a really good idea. I'll have founders on here for sure. Because I think from here on out, I was texting you about this, and I kind of want to make it a little bit diverse as far as who I bring on and things like that. But I want it to be very inspirational with who comes on, what stories they tell, how they got there, how they're doing, their highs and their lows, essentially. And I don't see a better avenue than bringing on those kinds of people and sharing stories exactly like that,
And on slight note on that subject, it's personal is very important, and because I know kids today are very, very personal, and I don't want my kiddo to grow up and one day in a college dorm room go, what did my parents say about me? Let me see if my dad ever talked about me. And I want to keep it private because I know she would like to keep it private. But what I want to say is to the people going through hard parts of life is that you talk to people and reach out for help also. And I do mean friends, and I do mean you may have a chance to talk on some event or a podcast at some point, but I just mean in a personal sense, do talk to people, do reach out to people, because people understand, people will help, people will offer help, and people will walk with you through very difficult parts of life that sometimes you don't anticipate, but they happen whether or not you could possibly plan for it. And as silly as it sounds, something happened a year ago where nobody could have predicted it, and things do get better. It's the scariest thing. You will panic, you will worry, you will not know how to solve, and you'll realize there's no solution. Things will get better. People will help you. The best thing you can do is reach out to your community. And we woke up and realized we had a community. We had people that supported us. And I as much as I love my artists, photographers, all my friends outside of just the tech world and business too, we realized we have a community, and every person needs to wake up and go, I do have a community. I need to talk to my people. Don't hold it in. Ask for help. It will get better. They will help you.
And that's the thing that I kind of realized too, is a lot of us kind of wait until something strikes, whether that be mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is. Like there's a consistent buildup of, I can do this myself. And then all of a sudden something catastrophic happens. And that is when you begin to look for community. I think that's one of the biggest things that I hope to change in my life is I want to search for community before anything happens like that, because you only look for community in those situations because things have gotten so bad to realize that they're there, but you don't realize that they're always there, and you can pull so much out of life. You can pull connections like this. You can pull conversations like this. You can pull, ideas, and you can pull collaboration and creativity, and no matter what it is, friends for life sometimes. The amount of friends that I've made over just like a quick conversation, at the park, with my dog or something like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, I talked to you for 3 hours at the park, just, and then I'm like, I actually really like where your head's at. I like where your mind's at, invite him over to dinner. My wife cooks something amazing. And then it's like, I met you at a park, it's so weird, but it's there. It's there for sure. And it takes a certain level of effort and a certain level of openness that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people, and even uncomfortable for myself. And I feel like I'm extremely extroverted and easy to communicate with anyone.
I see it.
Because you just think about your responsibilities and the things you have to do and all these things, and don't realize, like, if you slow down and really absorb what is around you, you can multiply with people. You think you can do it yourself, and if you're doing tasks by yourself, then you're getting one task done at a time. But if you meet a large swath of people who then can give you connections in all these fields, you're then creating this web of people. And that's where my mindset has gone recently. It's like, I'm not doing this alone anymore. I've tried it for years, tried to do video and photo and run my own business and do all these things by myself. I'm like, you know what? It's not about that.
and do bring people into your world, because it's people are guilty of feeling that they may burden somebody with their question, their request, their time even, and it's not a burden. I actually found something. I know we're a little bit past
it's okay.
time,
It's okay.
but
It's okay.
I lived in Denver, Colorado for 18 years in the United States, and then we moved to the Pacific Northwest, to Seattle, and I met people in Seattle, some wonderful friends to this day, and then I moved to San Diego for 5 years with my family. We all had a good, warm California experience in San Diego for 5 years, and then we chose, the rest of the family said we have to have our family nearby, moved back to the Pacific Northwest. But I made a lot of friends across the United States, and whether or not it's business context, whether or not it's my artist, photographer friends, I talk to people, and I find one thing is everyone is lonely. Don't be embarrassed if you sit back and go, I'm lonely. Who wants to talk to my, who wants to talk to my lonely, boring self? Like, you're not the only person that feels that. Everyone is lonely. You talk to your friends, especially if they're later 30s, when they've seen some tougher parts of life and they're done with random anxiety. Now they have family and health anxiety and all these things that seem to have a greater, deeper meaning. Everyone is lonely. Do talk to people. Talk to your friends and realize that you're not a burden. People do want to talk to you. You do have interesting things to say. Your experiences are funny or interesting. And the more you talk, the more practice you get, the more comfortable you're going to get. And you'll find out that the person you're talking to is equally willing to talk. I promise you, if you find out with a genuine moment, you'll find that most people, no matter how smart or popular seeming, they're very, very lonely and they want to talk to people. And more often than not, it's okay to take that step and come out of that shell, maybe on a podcast, maybe just at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And definitely over the phone.
Yeah. And we had a men's group in here, me and my buddy. There was 5 of us, and we had a men's group in here, all different styles of people, all different jobs and walks of life. And you could tell at first there's some that are quiet, some that are open from the start, and we were kind of trying to figure out how we wanted to model this group. But I mean, after 20 minutes, you see everyone have that exact same, you're not in it alone, and you're not some unique case.
Right.
You are very much so walking in lockstep with so many people on this planet. It's not unusual. It's not out of the blue that you are feeling entirely lonely, lost, insecure, not connected, scatterbrained. I mean, I literally am working daily on just trying to focus and really focus on things. And so I'm trying to give myself, like, even this podcast was something that I was getting nervous today, just at the house.
I'm not going to lie. I love talking, and I was so comfortable talking to you, and still I was genuinely nervous. Am I saying too much? Am I saying too little? Am I being boring? Am I being selfish with my time and talking just business? I wanted to make sure to be right.
And you think like that all the time, but realistically, it's like, I just wanted to get you in here, not only to connect and communicate, to be able to share your business aspect of it, but I wanted to give myself something important that I knew was important to me. Even if for any case, no one listen to this, like, this is extremely important to me. This is my passion. This is where I want to put my time and energy and focus into. When you took the time and energy to come out here, I want to make sure that I'm not just somebody who's not involved and doesn't care about his work. Like, I took the time, I stayed up at night, and I'm, digging through the website, and I'm formulating these questions, and I'm doing all these things, and I will get better. But but for the most part, I really do want to give myself purpose. And I think that's where a lot of us struggle with, is because for the longest time, I didn't know where my purpose was. But it lies in yourself giving yourself a task that is meaningful. And if you can trick your mind into the simplest tasks being meaningful, you then pull so much more out of life. And I'm trying to make sure that connection and connectivity is meaningful to me.
Right.
And a family unit is meaningful to me. And the way that I take care of my body and my health is meaningful, and all these things. And when I have began to do that, I'm seeing results. I'm literally seeing you in front of me having this conversation, us building this out, me just leaving I left my son, my wife, I gave him a kiss. I was at home, spent the day with them, studied here all night last night, so I'm seeing my reality so much differently, and it's changing my life right in front of me. It's very odd.
And you're doing it. That's the most important part, is to stop. There's so much self-doubt. It's hours and hours of self-doubt, and then you just jump into it, and it feels natural more often than not once you start.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the amount of times, and I don't know if this happens to you, but like, I have an idea, and it's an overwhelming idea. I met you. I was like, I want to talk to him again. I want to get him in the booth. I want to do a podcast. We'll set it up. It'll look professional. It's going to be crazy. And then as the days go by, you go, the self-doubt will creep in, like, will I say the right thing? Like when we were having the conversation at the tech meetup, you know, because it seemed effortless and it was fluid and flawless, and we were bouncing, me, you, and someone else were just kind of casually conversing. And I'm like, that's what I'm going for. But if we put the cameras on and the lights on, is it going to change the conversation and the way that I ask questions and the way that I talk? And I realized that it's a practice, and that's something that I got to get past. And that's something that everyone's going to have to get past. But realistically, like, it's what I want, you know? And so I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to.
You got it. My sweetheart would say that I'm a chatterbox. And I honestly, sometimes I feel like I do talk a lot, but sometimes it's just great to get ideas out, and to also bond with people, whether in a formal setting or informal. And it's something that I really do wish people talk to each other more. And cameras on or cameras off doesn't really matter. Just people need to be unafraid to talk to each other, and no one's a burden. And people should get rid of the illusion that they are a burden and their time is a nuisance to somebody else. Because chances are the person, just like you said, you're not alone. People are going through the same kind of thoughts, the same kind of self-doubt, and want to express themselves in a much similar way. And ultimately, everybody wants to make a connection.
I think if I had any advice towards anyone who actually wanted to move in that direction, convert your living room to a conversational style living room.
Ooh.
And it would change the way that you look at life, essentially. It's a very weird way to do that, but most people spend most of their time at home.
Right.
And when you see these things, like I always write notes and put them on the fridge because I know I'm going to go in the fridge, you know? So the one that I have right now is a letter to myself. I called it Become, and I said, become all these things. And I read it every day because I put it somewhere where I know I see it every day. And so if you changed your living room to a conversational style, then you're intentionally putting the idea that I changed my living room to a conversational style so that I then can communicate with people, bring people in, and not be distracted by the world around me.
Awesome. It's almost like feng shui.
It's kind of. I mean, they're on it for sure. They're definitely on it. I mean, the Japanese especially have such a unique style of looking at reality. I've always been fascinated by it. And their simplicity, their use of furniture, the way they lay out and design their homes.
Feng shui might be a Chinese methodology, but Japanese have a great way of looking at it. And there's a person who uses the word. This is a word I came to learn from the team I spent 5 years with before, Sony. And Sony has this idea of kando. It's that spark of excitement. Anything I show you, any technology you experience, any kind of, check out this new camera, check out this new microphone, check out this new movie or show or game they make. It has to give you that wow fact. everything that you do should be focused towards that wow effect.
They do a good job at that, because anytime I grab one of these cameras, I'm like, I need it. I need it.
And I love that philosophy of sparking that wow, and that's kando. And that idea is now with me throughout my life, with my family, with the things I want to do next in life and creativity, and even with Sensobright, even with my team, is how do we make a technology that changes the world, bring it to everybody, but every step gives you that wow effect. I didn't know something like that exists. I didn't know it could change that. I didn't know it could move the technology forward or save money or help with medical processes all across the world. Everything that you do can have that wow moment. And that's another great way of looking. We're so responsive to conditions. So it's all about setting conditions to give you the most out of whatever moment you're experiencing, to give you that wow spark.
I love that. I love how different cultures have specific words for an emotion. And that's something that I'm trying to encompass in the way that I raise my son and the way that I raise my kids, is that understanding reality in that sort of depth. In what you do evokes something much bigger than what you can imagine. And what you're after is not an object, but a feeling, you know? And if you're creating an object, you're creating a feeling more than you're creating the object, which is, it's so cool that that's their philosophy and motto behind their creation of either cameras or videos, video games, whatever it is, you know? That's so cool. Man.
I really enjoy the taking thoughts forward and taking actions to make the thoughts become change. And even in this conversation, even in our recording together, I think that we got a lot of good thoughts that'll bring around a lot of good actions, that'll bring around a lot of good change. And even teaching moments. I think one of my earliest jokes when I was learning English was somebody told me about the ballpoint pen, something called a ballpoint pen, aka a pen, as most of us know it. And one of my first jokes when I was 15 or 16, it was so silly. I came up with, somebody asked, like, who invented the ballpoint pen? I go, there's actually a Frederick Ballpoint. And then they go, what? I go, no, it's called a ballpoint pen because the point is a ball. It's not a guy whose last name is Ballpoint. But I was a 15-year-old. I thought it was very silly. But the point of that is that you can make a moment that's memorable from a simple description.
Oh, yeah.
So now maybe the next generation of silly conversations somebody has this, next time somebody hears something and they say, who invented the ballpoint pen? Oh, yes, it was Frederick Ballpoint.
There you go.
And then leave them wondering, was there really a person named Frederick Ballpoint? Or was it just a teaching moment to say, no, now you'll remember forever the real answer, whomever that might be.
Well, it's crazy that you say that. I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier about how you can influence someone's mind. You can essentially instill memories at will at any time. Like if I jumped up on the desk right now and screamed and went crazy,
I remember.
For the rest of your life, you would most likely remember the time you came on a podcast and at random at the very end, I jumped on the table and went nuts. That should tell you how much influence that you can possess on somebody. Please make it good. But that just tells you the level of, if you do something abstract and out of the ordinary, you really can change people's lives and make a insane memory for somebody. And I love changing the tone and the pitch on people. So I'll just be talking to them normal and then I'll clap and then it'll stun them. And then you go, hey, you're going to remember this moment for the rest of your life.
Right.
My name is Brandon Cruz. And then...
And I'm Vadim Manoilo. Thanks for joining the podcast.
And then you clap again. And it's like almost this hypnotic thing that you do. And you're like, they're like, that was weird. And they remember it for I'll see them a year later, 3 years later. They're like, Brandon, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's fascinating. It's interesting, but definitely I feel like we're on a right path right now. I feel like there is a lot of good things coming in an uncertain world. And I definitely wanted to make sure that you were one of my first guests on and
thank you so much.
We got to chop it up about some really cool technology and some insights about how you can influence and affect the future, and just good positive outlooks.
Brandon, thank you so much again for having me here and for giving me the time. And we both have families at home, and we both share these moments together. And I really, really think that these kind of conversations are what move things forward for everybody.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go home thinking a lot about some of the things we talked about here, and also how you gave me this time. And I appreciate being one of your first podcast guests.
Yeah, absolutely. The first in the studio, at least. I've had some friends come on before, but the first in the studio. I want to make this, I don't know exactly how often I'm going to do this, but I wanted to see if there was anyone that you knew who is somebody that I absolutely have to talk to.
Absolutely.
But you can send them my way if you can't think about anybody right now. But if you send some people, tell them to come in. I just want to have some really, really dope conversations, some really cool conversations, intellectual, with athletes, with creators, no matter who it is. If there's someone who is just interesting and who has something to say, I want to just kind of poke and prod and let them go. And I want to build this. I really, really want to build this, and I want to build this community, and I want to build around what we could, just what we can do here. The potential here, I feel, is so insane. And so I wanted to start off with you and
thank you
go
for
from there.
It's a great honor to me to be here.
Mhm.
And it's a great honor to myself and the team that I work with, of course, as well, to be the first featured guest with speaking with you. And I'm absolutely going to bring you people that I think will be really fun, but also memorable, and somebody that you can walk away going, yeah, that was a great conversation. I got a couple of bits I can hold on to for the rest of my time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
I'll be sending you some social media clips, and we'll get this thing going. Yeah, definitely tell the professor too about my ideas. I feel like I got a couple in there. I got a couple in there.
I wonder if we can make time to bring Professor Dr. Utku Bueksahin.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
And,
that'd be incredible.
That would be fantastic too. And again, my name is Vadim Manoilo. I'm the Director of Marketing and Business Development at Sensobright, and we're an Oregon-based company. But most importantly, thank you for giving us a chance to speak here today.
Absolutely.
And just a chance to bond and kind of understand and go through some interesting ideas. And let's build this community together, because I've only been in Portland for 2 years.
Okay.
And I've already met a lot of interesting people, and I really think it'd be great to help bring them here, because you're very natural at talking and getting people to be engaged. Because frankly, being engaged is a big part of what life is about.
Yeah.
So it should be a big part of what our conversations here are.
And just to provide some semblance of like a trajectory of where we can go. And I always try and look to the future and see where is a good place to put my time, effort, and energy. And I think if you bring people on who have a certain, like I feel like you guys have a slingshot right now, and you guys are at the back of it, and
Very
someone
much.
just has to just let go of the pinch, and you guys are going to go, and then people can really be a part and see like, oh, that's where we're going. And then
Very
you
much.
start this trickle effect of, okay, well, if I saw that, then maybe I can see the trends of the next evolution of reality, essentially. Because right now we're in this weird in-between zone, I feel like, and it's not a lot of certainty as far as where we're going in the future, and not a lot of understanding. So I think I want to make this platform easy to digest for people who are kind of in that in-between zone. I know I am. So
Great.
I'm bringing on people who are a lot smarter than me, who can just feed me that info.
I'd have to bring you people who are
you
smarter
can.
than either of
I'm
us.
here for it. That's why I brought a notepad, so I can just jot down. I'm scribbling. I'm just doodling. But
Brandon, it's honestly been a pleasure. And thank you again so much
Absolutely.
for this, and beautiful environments. And I think to all the future next guests, so this is to anybody that gets to see this from the heart, this is a great environment, and you'll be comfortable. The lighting is nice, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Absolutely. I'm going to chop it up with the camera real quick. This is the Brandon Cruz Podcast. Thank you so much, Vadim, for coming on and chopping it up. This is going to be on YouTube, Spotify. We're going to cut some social media clips, so you'll see it all throughout social media. If there is anyone that you would like for me to interview and to see on this show, please reach out and have them come on. Love to talk to them. Until next time, thank you guys so much. Vadim, thank you so much again, and see you again.